DMZ was one of my most anticipated game modes for Modern Warfare 2. No, not this Modern Warfare 2.
Remember, no Russian.
Impressive.
This Modern Warfare 2. I don't know why they can't come up with better names for their games when the name of this game has the same name as an OG game, but
Okay. Cool.
Escape from Tarkov is a game that I've always been really interested in, and I love watching people play it, but I could just never get into it because it takes so much patience and it has a steep learning curve, so it was never ended up in my rotation of games that I play. But what happens if you simplify Escape from Tarkov's gameplay mechanics and replace its realism with an arcade shooter system? Well, I just explained what DMZ is. That's exactly what DMZ is, and it handles the mesh of these two aspects well. In turn, it offers a game mode for players like myself that just can't get into Tarkov. Now, when DMZ first launched, it was really underwhelming. I think I put a total of like 5 hours into it before realizing it was just not for me, at least at that time. Its full potential was not yet realized, and I still don't think its full potential is realized today because it's still in beta, but it's a lot better now. Back then, the AI was way too aggressive and there wasn't enough content to keep me interested in coming back. Also, this is purely subjective, but Al Mazrah is way too big. Cut a quarter of that map down and it would flow a lot nicer. It's been 9 months since DMZ's arrival, and with that, the lifespan of this Call of Duty is almost done. And in that time span, it has improved immensely with bug fixes, new maps, which are way better than Al Mazrah, and a heaping pile of content for anyone interested in doing a bit of a grind to improve their chances during matches. It's really hard to tell at this point if DMZ will go on to become a series mainstay or if it'll be forgotten to time like so many other modes, but as of right now, DMZ is the only reason I play Call of Duty, and here's why. Unlike traditional COD that everyone is used to now, DMZ takes the focus off of PvP and makes its formula about picking certain tasks, executing them, and extracting the zone to secure everything you found during that run. It deviates substantially from Warzone's last man standing objective and simply asks you to survive and evade conflict where possible. That's not to say that PvP isn't a thing here, because it very much is, and some people actively go into these games looking for fights with other players. However, the emphasis is rarely on that side of the gameplay, and avoiding real players is ideal, especially if you're playing solo. Of course, yeah, that's what I get for trusting other people, yep. If you can't tell by now from this footage, or maybe you're just not watching the footage, I've been playing DMZ solo for the past several weeks, sinking a total of 35 hours into it, and a lot of people have asked me why. I mean, literally, a lot of people, even people that have killed me in my matches, have asked me why I'm playing solo. After all, it's a game mode that allows 3-person squads. Well, doesn't really just allow it, it kind of emphasizes that you go in with 2 other people. I only really had 2 answers for this. First, it's hard for me and my friends to get our schedules lined up because that's just the sad reality of being an adult. But second, I just love the thrill of going in alone, stealthing my way through the map, scoring some awesome loot, and completing an objective and getting out undetected, and not being hampered by someone else that may have gotten down or died. It breaks the norms of COD's repetitive existence of a "I have to be the best in every match" experience, and this is from a player that has sunk a considerable amount of time of his gaming life into Call of Duty. I think I'm just one in a few people that really enjoyed Infinity Ward's slower gameplay with tactical elements. That's an approach I've always wanted to see COD tackle, especially with the way Battlefield is just on a whole new level of crap these days. However, many people complained, and over the course of its short lifespan, the gameplay has been sped up considerably. But DMZ still requires a slow, methodical angle to be successful. This experience becomes substantially harder when you go in solo, because almost everywhere you go, you're gonna be outmatched. AI can outnumber you 20 to 1 at times, and if you run into a squad of 3 players, unless you got some slick moves, you're entirely at their mercy. The stakes are high, especially when everything you have on your person will be lost if you perish. The odds are never in your favor, and it's because of this that the game requires forethought, planning and creativity. As I said before, DMZ deviates from the traditional experience this series has provided over its longevity, allowing the player to tackle matches the way that they want to. You can pretty much do whatever you want, and in that freedom, the game soars. Buried in this freedom are also downsides, because every task you attempt to tackle comes with a risk versus reward pull. I found great weapons in a match, I got a 3-plated armor vest and a high quality gas mask. Those are wonderful assets to have. But then I make that judgment call. Do I move into a zone with a high threat level to complete that last mission while I'm here, or do I just exfil now and hope for a better shot next time? This is the gameplay loop that got me hooked. See, you can't just go in willy-nilly. I mean, okay, I guess you can. I just said you can do whatever you want, but it's gonna get you killed. Trust me, I learned that the hard way, and because my tiny brain was so used to running and gunning, it took me a little while to get into the groove of being tactical again. This changed the way I played the game and changed my trigger-happy mentality that I was programmed to have from years of playing these games, and that was vital to my success. Once this happened, the game just kind of clicked for me. I was no longer running around all the time. I was pre-planning my runs and deciding which objective I wanted to tackle for each match. If enemy players were nearby, I'd hide and let them pass. I'd scope out areas before proceeding, secure my route, and try my best to take out AI with my throwing knife so they wouldn't make a ruckus letting other players know where I was. I'd choose my missions wisely, and if one wasn't possible because of where I spawned on the map, say, I'd try to achieve another one or loot some gear before extracting. These matches can be really as long or as short as you want them to be. There are some matches that I've played that are only like 5 minutes in length because I found something that I wanted and I didn't want to get killed, so I extracted. In fact, knowing when to exfil is just as important as having a plan. If you wait too long, those exfil sites are gonna get crowded real quick with enemy players waiting to take your sweet loot. It's always best to scope out exfil sites before calling in a chopper because, believe it or not, I mean in pure Call of Duty fashion, there are a lot of players that love to camp these sites hoping for easy kills.
904, we're standing by. Get to the extract.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
That's honestly probably one of the worst parts of DMZ. There are a lot of people that camp these extraction sites, but if you're aware of this, you can try to get the jump on them if you're smart about it. These modes offer a lot of challenges and missions that not only let you level up your character, but give them passive bonuses, and one issue I have with these missions is that some of them are difficult with 3 people. That's a challenge, so playing solo makes taking on these hurdles incredibly difficult when you also have to worry about other players hearing the noise that you're making. Now, I may be in the minority here, but I'd love to see a solo mode implemented in here because I do see a lot of solo players running around in these lobbies, meaning that there must be some kind of demand for it, but for whatever reason, I don't really think Infinity Ward is too concerned with this mode. A majority of the player base lies within Warzone 2.0. Regardless though, as I was saying, there's a metric ton of content to get through. There are 5 factions and each of them have their own missions, and doing these increases your rank with that faction while also unlocking increasingly tougher missions. There are minor tasks that equip your character with passive bonuses that can make all the difference. These are often as small as just exfilling with certain loot items like 10 wine bottles, but these passive bonuses range from starting every match with 3 armor plates to unlocking a second slot for you to bring an insured weapon, meaning that if you die, you're not going to lose it. These objectives don't just give you something to do, they also make exploring these well-crafted maps fun. Certain objectives require you to find key pieces of loot, and these objects are usually in areas that make sense. For instance, wine bottles will be in stores on the street level, guns can be found at the police station, and self-revives are at hospitals. So naturally, exploring is heavily pushed here because you get XP for doing just that. Hell, exploring and looting can naturally alter your path of a run. That's because you can find keys and stronghold key cards. These points of interest are always guarantees for good loot, and the game doesn't tell you where to go. Sure, you may have found a key, but there's always some mystery and some vague piece of information that goes along with that object that'll tell you the general area it's in. And I love that the game doesn't mark these locations on the map. There's also intrinsic value in collecting money because if you have money, you can bypass conflict and get useful gear from the many buy stations around the maps. Money can also be used to upgrade standard weapons you find in the map to make them into guns you'll run with until you lose them. There's always a sense of tension no matter what you're doing because anything can happen at any moment. But if you're constantly aware of your surroundings and you play smart, these runs will work out in your favor a lot more of the time. It's obviously inevitable that you're going to lose some good loot that will set your character back to square one. Losing a 3-plated vest and a self-revive really hurts, but it gives me something to strive towards as I work my way back up the food chain once again. There's always something to accomplish, even if some missions can be a little bit on the repetitive side. And accomplishing these goals is just as satisfying as seeing that successful exfil screen. DMZ is a fantastic gaming experience and probably the most fun I've had with a Call of Duty title outside of the campaigns since Black Ops 2. They've implemented a lot of what I love in games. The planning, the decision making, the need for exploration, and of course the really tense gameplay that left my heart racing more than a couple of times. Having to use your wits to think your way out of a conflict with another team is a harrowing experience. Seeing the exfil screen letting you know you made it out with everything you came for makes you want to jump right back in. It's incredibly awesome to see a game mode that is about more than just running around and shooting people. Though there's really nothing wrong with that, it's just I enjoy something more. Also, as a bonus, DMZ is free. It's a great mode that's free to play, and I recommend that you try it if you haven't already. There's really no reason not to. So that's my video on DMZ. I've just been playing it a lot and I wanted to share my thoughts on it because I think it's something unique that Call of Duty has that they shouldn't get rid of, and I really hope it keeps getting supported and we see new evolutions of it as time passes. So that's going to end this video. Thank you all for watching. If you like the content, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace out.
Dino 4 to actual. All objectives and personnel secure.